Hello again, welcome back to Asgard, and welcome back to Project Ozone. So, I've done a bit of work in the main building, adding additional rooms. I'm just kind of working on some stuff. Also, working on the roof a bit, and getting that squared away. There will be a section on the top here, but we'll get to that later on. Also working on kind of the underbelly of the base a bit, and kind of squaring that away, and whatnot. Also, I made some improvements, speed upgrades, and that kind of things to our sieving system and our ore processing system and whatnot. We're producing zinc at a fairly good rate now. It's not the best. Eventually, we'll need an RF Tools dimension for zinc for sure. If we want to get into like really high tier solar panels and really get that whole system processing. But today we are going to be working on Galacticraft. We're going to go discover a few more planets and get that kind of underway. Now, I did do a little bit of stuff involving Galacticraft. I did go by the asteroid belts. The Orion drives, these are actually very easy to make. They just require a bunch of different ores. The main thing we haven't covered is ilmenite ore, and you can actually find this in the asteroids. I got lucky, and where my portal is to the asteroids, the meteor directly in front of me, I just started digging through it, and there was ilmenite ore, a vein of that inside of there. It's actually not terribly uncommon at all, so fairly easy to pull up a bit of that. I also went back by Mars and did a little bit of dungeoning, and I got the Astrominer recipe schematic. So we are going to make an Astrominer today and actually start using that a little bit. That's why I got those Orion drives. So what we're going to need, first up for the Astrominer, I think we're going to start with that. I don't believe that there's a quest for the Astrominer, if I recall correctly. No, there's not. We still need to do cryosleep. We'll get around to that. Anyways, the Astrominer, it requires 5 of those Orion drives, and then just heavy-duty plates, advanced wafers, chests, and so on. So let's go ahead and order one more of these chests. There we go. And then I'm going to want a steel pole. We'll get one of those. We're also going to want one more of those beam cores. Very cheap to make. I was surprised that this didn't actually have like an increased cost recipe or anything. It was pretty standard, honestly. Advanced wafers. And then we're going to want these heavy-duty plate tier 1s. Like a few of those. Okay, so that should be everything that we need for the Astrominer. We'll go ahead and throw this stuff in there. I believe this is everything that we need. There we go. There is our Astrominer. Very, very cheap at this point to make. And then we're also going to want the, the Astrominer base. This requires a few of these energy storage modules. So we're going to need these sulfuric batteries. There's 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Okay, and because we're going to need 8 of these to actually make this. So then we'll get our 2 energy storage modules. We'll get 4 of these beam cores. And aside from the chests, that's everything. So we'll get 2 of those. And there we go. Astrominer bases. Awesome. Okay, now in addition, one other thing that I'm going to want before we head out is teleportation. Let's at least get 4 of these. We should have pretty much everything that we need for that. Okay, so there's one of those. And if you recall, I mentioned we're going to need some more, or some new launch pads. With the changes to extra planets, we're going to need the tier 2 launch pads. So we're actually going to need 2 crafts of these, I believe. So let's get 6 of those. And there's our launch pads. And that should be everything that we need. I've already got my tier 4 rocket. Of course, we already had this, but we can't place it down anymore due to these changes with the launch pad. Actually, I believe these have to be a 5x5, right? I think so. I think they're much larger. Okay, well, I'm going to get like that. I can't really have too many of these, and I think I actually lost some to space. These launch pads are very, very large. Very, very large. And it actually messes up my original plan. Yeah, there we go. There's our Tier 2 launch pad. Okay, and now we can set down our Tier 4 rocket. Da-da-da. And you'll notice it is a changed design and everything. It actually looks way better than the Tier 4 rocket did before. And I think we're ready for liftoff. Let me check my fuel. We're going to have to wait for this thing to get fueled up real quick. And I think first up we're going to stop by Ceres. Oh no. 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 Stop it. Alright, so teleportate. Those are done. Okay, cool. I'm going to go ahead and grab those. Throw them into here. Ceres, if I recall correctly, there's not a whole lot at Ceres that we're going to need. But we're going to stop by there and set up a teleporter anyway. Just so that we've got it, right? And then we'll head on over to, what, Jupiter? What's next? I hate that it breaks the launch pod. Ah, drives me insane. I just want to leave that launch pad alone. Now, there is also a Tier 3 launch pad, which I haven't double-checked it, because this update, this is my first time playing with this update. But if I recall, that one is, I can't remember if it's a 5x5 or if it's a little bit larger. But I will have to build and lay out that that docking area that we've got. Okay, so to Ceres, let's go ahead. Yes, I want to launch to Ceres. It's a lot like Mercury, honestly. It looks a whole lot like Mercury. Liquid salt is what all the liquid is. Okay, there we go. And is this the type of planet that we would like to build something on? Like I said, I don't believe there's any kind of schematics that we're looking for or anything of that nature. No dungeons. Well, there was the addition of the Mars rover and the Venus rover. I'll have to look into those. I don't believe, because if I recall, there's no dungeons on Ceres. And the only ores, like if we take a look at Ceres, because of course in here you can actually see what ores there are. There's no new ores. It's primarily Ceres uranium, copper 10, and there's no like dungeon bricks or anything like that. So mainly I just wanted to come by here so that we have this as a teleportation option, and we can set up a base here, you know, to utilize for our purposes and everything. And for setup purposes, let's go ahead, we'll set our teleporter up right here. We're going to add it to a frequency known as Ceres. There we go. And now I'm just waiting on the quantum entangleporter, which should be nearly done. And for right now, we'll just put that on the bottom. We're going to say that you can connect to mining power for right now. There we go. So that has power now. Let's go ahead and put down... we'll just put a spot loader down beneath this just to make sure it's loaded. I don't think it has to be to ensure that we can always teleport here, but for right now we'll put that down. Okay, so that's pretty much it. We're going to go ahead and head on back to the space station. And I'm not for sure what I'm going to use Ceres for just yet. I just kind of wanted to have it as a teleportation option so that when we're ready to build on it, we have that option. So, not a whole lot planned for there anyways. Now what we're actually aiming for is the Tier 5 rocket. Now this requires palladium, like quite a bit of palladium that we're going to need for this. The heavy duty plates, compressed palladium, yeah, pretty expensive anyways. We're fueled up. Let's go ahead, and that's what I've got the Astro Miner for, is because with the Astro Miner we can quickly get a lot of palladium. Okay, we are headed to Jupiter next. This is our last Tier 4 planet, because if you recall there was like 3 Tier 4 planets or something. There's quite a few of them. Alright, so palladium ingots. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Heh heh heh. There's my parachest. Welcome to Jupiter. This is actually the planet that I believe we're going to have our energy base on. Basically, like really high energy production on this planet is kind of my goal. If you notice, there's a lot of lightning. My plan is that we're going to utilize this lightning for power on this planet, as well as other things. I think we'll probably set our reactors up on here and stuff. But this will be a power-focused planet. So, fun stuff. Now, this place does have... this liquid is liquid magma. Stuff is very, very hot. And I just remembered what... okay, I actually don't need to spend very long here because I need new thermal padding. I almost forgot about that. Actually, I could probably make it the thermal... Let's see. For Jupiter and Saturn during the day and night. Yeah, I'm going to need this stuff. I always forget about this stuff. The Tier 2 thermal, the Tier 1 thermal. Let's get a bunch of this stuff. Okay, I'll tell you what, I'm actually out of carbon at the moment. God, there's lightning everywhere. There's lightning everywhere. And this stuff can actually hurt you. I'm actually surprised that I'm not dying at the moment for forgetting my new thermal stuff. I seem to forget that every single time, right? I don't know if it's a bug with the changes to extra planets, maybe. Ah! Don't want it. How am I not burning to death? Ah, man. Oh, here we go. Here we go. We'll set up shop here. This will be perfect. Okay. Remove this stuff, and here we go. Haha. This is basically like the remnants of a space station, basically. Okay, we're going to set up in here. I'm going to close that off a little bit. And we'll put our teleporter down. And for right now, we'll just use this place. It's kind of our base of operations. Actually, I'll tell you what. I want the quantum entangleporter right here. We're going to say that you can connect to mining power. Energy is all output. And then we'll set this to Jupiter for right now. And of course this is all temporary stuff, so. There we go. And let's head on back. Let's actually head to, well, I'll head to Mars. And then we'll go get some carbon because I totally forgot that I'm going to need more carbon than that. Than what I had. I want to say that they've actually upped the cost on all the thermal stuff now. Because I feel like it was cheaper before. And now it's like way expensive. Okay, so I'm going to get this stuff processing. And we'll get our carbon ingots from that. And that's about a stack of carbon. That should be enough for what we need. We will get more of that soon. Next episode, like I said, I'm planning on, you know, totally redoing power. And so once that time comes, we'll probably, after that, we'll probably start RF tools, honestly. That's going to need upgrades. But once we can have dimensions of all these, you know, basically just mining up all of this stuff, it's going to make our lives so much easier. So much easier. I'm not for sure yet if I want to have, like, maybe all the ores within the same dimension. Or separate dimensions. Probably separate dimensions, honestly. Yeah, we don't have any compressed carbon at all. Okay, so to actually get our thermal tier 3, basically we're going to need compressed carbon and then a bunch of compressed carbon for each piece. Wow, this is going to be expensive. It's going to be very, very expensive. I totally forgot about that because in the past, honestly, the thermal cloth stuff was really not that big of a concern for us. Alright, we got our first piece, the thermal padding helmet. So give me just a bit. I'm going to get this stuff crafted out because it is going to take a little while to get all this thermal stuff crafted. Okay, I just realized something. I've actually got a chest here set up to light gray, light gray, light gray, which of course is our ore input. I've got carbon in here. I think that's why I was thinking that Dash could be processed because I think they changed it maybe in the most recent update. I'm not for sure. But I could have swore that Dash used to be processable through the ore quintupling system, but then it wasn't. However, carbon is. So what I'm doing is I'm actually pumping our carbon, and it makes it go a whole lot farther and be a whole lot easier to get this stuff done. I've got carbon coming into here, and then what I can do is just set up, in our ore quintupling system, set up carbon to go through that process. So then that'll get shipped down, and we should have carbon getting quintupled in. All these are full right now, but carbon, anyways, it'll come in here and it'll get quintupled, which will make our carbon go a lot farther. I mean, we're tripling it right now, but quintupling it would be much better. So, oh, by the way, since we're here, you'll notice I did add additional pulverizers and sag mill lines. So we're able to keep up with all the ores. Basically, there is no sag mills and alloy smelters and all of that in the overworld now. It's all sent here to process, even the stuff from our mystical crops farms. So it does make life a bit easier, honestly. But anyways, let's head on back to Jupiter. I've got the thermal padding made, and now each ore that we come up with, that's 5 ingots. So huge improvement over what we had. Okay, so let's see if we can find a dungeon. Here's a village, but it's just standard space villagers. Honestly, finding a dungeon in this place might be a little bit tricky, but I don't know for sure. So, we shall see. Oh, you know what? I want one other thing here. I want an ender chest. Just white, white, white. That's fine. And I ordered another quantum entangleporter. It's probably going to take a minute on that, though. And we're going to use our astro miner. Once we find a dungeon, we'll put that thing to use. Tell you what, let's also get a chunk loader really quick. And I'm actually going to go ahead and set this up before we head out looking for dungeons. I do believe, because then we'll just use this. Well, I don't know. I don't know if I want to use this quantum entangleporter. Man, we're getting bombarded by lightning here. I think I'm going to set it up just down here. We're just going to dig down a little bit. Find a good place to set this. Ooh. This is like magma everywhere. Okay. Down in here would be a good place, I think. Yeah, there's palladium right here. Let me go ahead and grab this. And I believe palladium can probably be quintupled. I can only imagine. Yes, it can be quintupled. Okay, so we're going to use right here as our astro miner setup for right now. We'll go ahead and make a marker for it. Because what I'm thinking is we'll just use the astro miner like whenever we first get to a planet, we'll set it down, let it start mining while we explore planets. Or explore dungeons. So that'll work. That will work. I'm going to go ahead and grab that. And let's see. We're going to want to give this thing power. It's like constant storms here. It's ridiculous. We'll put the chunk loader right there. We're going to say chunk load 8 chunks. Radius. And then if I recall correctly, items are going to come out of the bottom of this thing, right? I think. Or something. Somewhere. Okay. So let's get ourselves like 100 of these. There we go. And we'll put our quantum entangleporter. Nope. We're going to set it right here. We're going to set our ender chest on the other side. And we're going to say that you connect to mining power. Energy out on each direction. Auto eject. There's that. That's starting to get power. And then what we'll do is we'll go ahead and set down the astro miner because it can go ahead and start moving. Put it right in there. We'll give it a second. It's going to have to charge up its power. And while we're waiting for that, let's go ahead and set up the item conduits. And I believe, yeah, they can just connect on the bottom. That's what I was thinking. And we'll say extract is always active. you can insert into here. So basically what the Astro Miner is going to do is once it gets charged up, it's going to set off and start mining. There we go. It's going to start mining everything in that direction. So you can see right now it just hit a bunch of palladium. And basically it's just going to start tunneling through here. And now we don't have to do any more manual mining. What's going to happen is once its inventory is filled, it's going to go back to the Astro Miner base and dump everything off. So you can see it's mined 180 blocks so far. Which is perfect. That is perfect. Now I don't actually have the palladium going anywhere, so chances are... well, it hasn't come back yet, but chances are it should go into just our AE2 system, and then, you know, I can deal with it after that. Okay, now I've got to find my way back up, though. There we go. I'm just going to come up straight up right there. Okay. So now I'm going to set off and see if I can find a dungeon while the Astro Miner is mining. And, you know, that's why I gave it the 8 chunks. It has to... The area it's in has to be chunk loaded. So there is that. But it does mine extremely quickly, and it just mines up everything. There's certain blocks, of course, that it can't mine up, but for the most part, it's pretty effective. Especially for, like, when we first hit a planet, throw that down and send it out mining. Now, once we set up our RF tools dimensions, I don't know for sure if I'm just going to do Astro Miners on each dimension, or if I'm going to use RF tools builder blocks. Probably builder blocks, because of the fact that they chunk load what they're mining, where the Astro Miner doesn't really chunk load. So, you know, it can move out of range, and it can only mine straight. You know, there's a lot of downsides to the Astro Miner, but it is probably the best, probably the best, like, focused miner that we have at the moment, where we can just come to a planet, throw that down, let it do its thing while we go off and do something else. Because it'll definitely speed up our initial expeditions into space. You know, we're looking for dungeons, it's looking for ores, and then we can kind of meet in the middle once we have everything. I'm actually kind of surprised that we have not gotten hit by lightning yet, because it can happen. I don't know if it's been fixed, but I remember a time when if you tried to launch off of Jupiter, you would just get struck by lightning. Like your rocket would, and it would just get destroyed. Like, all the time. Of course, that was a bit back, so I don't know if they fixed that or set up ways to combat that. I'm hoping that lightning rods work, and they're very effective on this planet, because that's kind of what I'm thinking, is to have, you know, some big lightning rod setups just basically funneling power off of this planet all the time. Alright, found a dungeon here. Evolved red creepers. Okay. So anyways, let's head on down into this dungeon and get our schematic. The nice thing about these is, of course, there's really only like one schematic, I think, that they can drop. Well, I don't know for sure now, with the addition of, like, the moon buggies and stuff. On Cena! No chests so far. A lot of spawners, though. But we have so many of all these spawners, like the evolved creatures and stuff. Oh, man. No, don't want that. Okay, boss fight room. Creeper boss from Jupiter. Very, very simple. In fact... Alright. Easy enough. Honestly, I don't think it could be much easier. Like, it's honestly a dumbed down version of the, you know, the Mars boss. So... it's one thing I feel like they could do a little bit of work on, is the bosses within extra planets, but that's okay. I actually like the planets and stuff quite a bit. Okay, what do we got? We have a Tier 5 rocket schematic. Awesome. And chances are we probably have about enough palladium at the moment. I'm going to go ahead and dump this stuff into the system. We don't need those. We don't need any of this. Alright, so we got that. I mean, that's pretty much the main thing we needed to get off of Jupiter. Now we're just waiting on getting a bit of that palladium, more than anything. I'm actually really excited, though, that we've got Jupiter now, because I can start building out with the intention of power generation. Oh no, don't tell me that. Really, that's no good. That's no good at all. I don't know why I didn't think about it. It was just probably just going to hit magma and just die. Okay. Well. I guess it's manual mining for me then. Yeah. But bear in mind that we can quintuple this. So give me just a bit to do a bit of mining here. I'm actually going to go ahead and pull up this Astro Miner base. Yeah, the Astro... Oh, he's coming back now. Haha. Maybe he did not die. Maybe he has been resurrected. It might have just been a bug, because I don't remember these things being destroyed by liquids, but he wasn't there, so... Oh man, get out of here. Okay. Get on in there. Okay, so it looks like he got 18 pieces of palladium and a ton of Jupiter stone. There's some Jupiter tin, Jupiter iron, Jupiter red gems. Ah, I totally forgot about red gems as well. What can we use these for by chance? Looks like, well, we can make the red gem wafers. Those... What do we have to do with these? Astro Miners finished mining the area and will now stop. Okay. Okay, it looks like mainly singularity type, or chaos cores and whatever this is. I don't know. Doesn't accurately show what everything is. Alright, but anyways, it's pulling that stuff out. Now what we can do is, once this is done pulling out, you know, we can actually have this mine a separate area here. Let's see. So we've got like over half stack of palladium. Honestly, that's probably enough for the time being, because the main thing that I need palladium for right now is the rocket. I mean, we can make the advanced fuel loaders, uranium rods, the robots. And technically with the robot, I guess we could make the digital miner now too. I don't know if we'll upgrade to that maybe, because it would be more effective than the Astro Miner. Logistical sorters, Enderium, teleportation cores. Yeah, we could make that pretty easily. Actually, I believe there's a quest for it as well. Yeah, there's one right here for the digital miner. I just need to... Basically, I need to make an osmium compressor manually, which really isn't that big of a deal. Alright, let me go ahead and pull off the Astro Miner. I'm going to help this thing get empty, because this is going to take days at this rate. Alright, so let me go ahead and set up palladium, and I'm also going to want a capacity card. Because then, once this is set up, I mean, we can let this thing run for a bit, get ourselves some palladium. It will take a little bit longer, you know, after a mining expedition, it'll take a little bit longer for it to process. But we're going to get a lot more output from that. We also got that red gem ore. We got 3 of these. I don't know what the best way for this to process would be. Smelt it. Crush it. Okay, we can't actually use the pulverizer for that, so we are going to want the crusher, in fact, to get additional red gems. Aha. Okay. Well, give me just a minute. I'm going to let that palladium run through, and let me go set it up inside of the chest as well. And I know there's also, like, there's blue gems, there's white gems on Uranus. But yeah, it's Neptune and Uranus that have the other 2 gems. So, that's fine. And then what I'll do is I'll set this to export with a capacity card. We're going to say that you can also export palladium and red gem from the system. Now, of course, red gem at the moment is not going to be going anywhere. That's okay. Alright, and I'm going to let that palladium process for a minute. And then we'll come back, we'll get the crusher set up. We'll probably make a digital miner. And then we'll probably go back to Jupiter, set that digital miner up, let it grab a bunch of red gems and palladium. Because, of course, with the digital miner, we can set a whitelist. And so we'll use the digital miner basically for a minute every time that we come to a new planet, set that down, let it mine. And then, you know, once we've been through all the planets and stuff, then we can use RF tools dimensions to actually, like, mine this stuff automatically. A bit more, like, long-term. Okay, we got 256 palladium. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to grab a couple stacks of that. I'm going to get it running through one of these compressors. I haven't got all this stuff set up to automate just yet. Okay, that's a visual bug. This is probably going to need a place to go, I can only assume, which is perfect. And what we'll do is we'll set it right here, compress palladium. It's going to start pumping into there. And then what we're going to need for our rocket. Let's see. For our tier, what is it, tier 6? No, it's tier 5. Tier 5 rocket. We're going to need a bunch of these heavy-duty plates. That is the tier 4 and then the compressed palladium. The tier 5 nose cone. So we're going to need 3, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. Yeah, we're going to need, I don't know, like 40. We're going to say 40. So compressed carbon and heavy-duty plate tier 3s. Tier 3s. Okay, I can just throw the compressed carbon into there. That works. I'm going to get some more of these heavy-duty plate tier 4s being made. And then we'll put the compressed palladium in there with it here in a moment. So while we're waiting on that stuff, let's go ahead and get our... Oh yeah, I've got palladium in here. Because I don't have all that stuff plugged up right now because the ores, we don't have that stuff. I don't have enough of that stuff, let's say, to make like 2,000 of everything at the moment. But here shortly it's going to be a whole lot easier to do that. So let's go ahead, actually first, let's go ahead and get an osmium compressor just really quick. So I'm just going to go ahead and order all the things that we're going to need for this. And then I'm going to go ahead and get these heavy-duty plates being made. How much palladium do we have at the moment? Two more stacks. Okay. Then I'm going to go ahead and throw in another half stack into this. Because we're going to want a bit of that palladium made up. But we're also going to want some in ingot form. So. Okay, so... for our compressor. I hate making this stuff manual when I could just click and have it all made. It's terrible. Okay, it looks like we're really just waiting on the reinforced alloy at the moment. And there we go, osmium compressor. And now that quest is completed, we'll go ahead and get our reward bag. Find obsidian ingots, we're going to need that. And that quest is done, we'll go ahead and get that reward bag, and then this reward bag, and now all we need is the digital miner. Okay, so what do we got here? We got one basic, an epic, and a good. So we got 5 invisible bedrock. From the basic, the good, we got soap, and the epic, cool, awesome. Out of curiosity, how much mana essence do I have? 62,000. Okay. So I totally need more of that then. Alright, so for the digital miner. Okay. This thing, we're going to need 2 atomic alloys. We're going to need some teleportation cores. Logistical sorters. I cannot remember if those are automated. They're not. Okay. Well, that's fine. I can go ahead and get the 2 teleportation cores. And the logistical sorters, these aren't too bad to make. We are going to need a couple pistons. My FPS in this room is so bad, like all the time. Okay, so logistical sorters, there's 1. There's 2 of those. We're also going to need that robot. It's a bit of palladium, a couple basic energy cubes, personal chests. Okay, so there's our robot. And now, that's, I guess, the most expensive part of it. Yeah, we just need 2 atomic alloys. These actually take a second to make. Well, there's one. I think I had some crafting, actually. Yes, I had a couple crafting. Looks like. Maybe. Maybe? Yeah. And there's our digital miner. Yeah. Okay. So that is done. And this quest is done. I want to get out of that room because we get a bit better FPS. We got a fluivac. Pumps fluids into and out of compatible containers. And we got a flux transfuser. Transfuses RF into and out of compatible items and devices. Those are both from thermal expansion. And I guess we'll just throw them in there. I have no real use for them. Also, the Astro Miner, I'm going to go ahead and throw that in there as well. Don't really need that. Okay. And the Tier 4 rocket, I'm just going to throw it in here because we don't really need it anymore. But I do have to set up an area. I have to change over the way that the rocket section is set up at the moment. Kind of change that over a little bit. Okay. So now that we've got that, we should have all of the plates that we need now. There's some compressed palladium, and oh yeah, I didn't set up a place for these Tier 5 heavy-duty plates to go. Just put those there for right now. Okay, and we should be all set to make our rocket. So, first up we're going to need a Tier 5 engine. There we go, Tier 5 rocket engine. And then we're going to need the nose cone. The Tier 5. So there's that. And then we need the rocket fins as well. Tier 5s of those. There's one. I wonder, is there ever any better compressors? Like faster ones would be nice. No, it looks like there's no... When they did the extra planet stuff, they didn't add any kind of like higher tier compressors. Those would have been so nice though. Okay, there's 3 rocket fins. Did I not make one? Okay, there it is. About to say. And let's see, to get our rocket, Tier 5. Oh yeah, we need the Tier 5 boosters, filled fuel cans, and all that stuff. Okay. We need blue wool for this. There's that. And then we're going to need the oxygen vents. I'm going to want 2 of those. And then I just need the 2 empty canisters. Okay. We're almost done. Okay, where did my filled fuel can go? I had another filled fuel can. And for some reason, it emptied it. It's very, very strange. Okay, so there we go. There's our other booster. Alright, so let's go ahead and unlock our Tier 5 rocket schematic. And there's that. And we're missing the nose cone. Huh? I must have thrown it into the system, I guess. Yeah, okay. Alright. Tier 5 rocket. Here we come. Dun dun dun. Okay. So now we can go set this up and we can set off once more. This time we have the digital miner. So what we'll do, I'll show you once we get there, but we're going to make the whole mining process a little bit easier. There we go. We'll get that thing fueling up. And how am I on oxygen? Okay, I've got plenty of oxygen actually. I am going to go ahead and throw on a new tank. And we'll give this just a minute to fuel up. I think once we make ground, we'll go ahead and grab an ore so we can set up the digital miner. Because it is going to need some kind of filter to know what it's mining for. But then, We'll just chunk load it and then let it run, basically. Let's see, the next rocket, the tier 6 one, we're going to need magnesium. Okay. Well, I believe we are all ready to go now. I like the way this rocket looks. Like, we're starting to get to the really cool rockets, I feel like. And, like, used to, they all look the same. Well, in this update, you know, they all look different. And all the extra planets ones and stuff, they look neat. So, yeah, goodbye, Earth. Or space station, whatever. Okay, so now we can go to Saturn. Sounds good. Believe... yeah. So on we go. I could have swore there was a tier 10 rocket, wasn't there? Yeah, I wonder what the tier 10 rocket is for. Unless it's just like the epitome of rockets. So anyways, here we are on Saturn. Because I believe all the actual tier 10 planets aren't reachable. And I assume that this is craftable. Yes, using compressed dark iron. Okay, now magnesium. I could have swore... See, we've got a bunch of magnesium. Is this stuff different, or... No, we have magnesium. We have magnesium aplenty. So we don't actually even need ores here, I don't believe. Yeah, because see, that gives us the Saturn magnesium ore. Really, all we need is the recipe for our next rocket, and we're done. What is this stuff? Is this, liquid glowstone? Okay, let me get a bucket. What can I do with this stuff? It makes fluid glowstone, but it's not energized glowstone. So... yeah, see, it doesn't actually benefit us too much. So I guess we're going to look for a dungeon. I mean, the fact that we already have all that magnesium, there's not a whole lot of reason to worry too much about gathering up a lot of that, I don't guess. I should have got that stuff running and making magnesium plates. How do I still have a glowstone bucket? I just dumped that stuff. There we go. Oh, I almost forgot. We need to set up a teleporter. Let me order another quantum entangleporter. There we go. And for right now, I'm just going to set the teleporter up, like, right here. Just for the time being. I know I was planning on setting up a crusher this episode, but I decided we're going to wait. And the reason being is... that's all output, okay. So that's good. The reason being is that we're actually running low on power. Like, I actually had to turn a couple things off because I saw a negative draw. Now, it's only at nighttime when we have our solar panels active. Like, during the day, they make up for the power that we need, but yeah, I mean, we're starting to get pretty bad on power. Luckily, next episode, we're going to be working with power a bit. That looks like a dungeon. Haha. Yes, it is. Cool. So I'm surprised we actually don't really need much at all from here. Like, the fact that we have that ore processing set up really allowed us to skip through this. This dungeon is not a good one, sadly. Okay, I think I found another dungeon right here. Awesome. But I figure we'll set up... Oh, I figure we'll set up our power... Basically our super power systems on Jupiter. You know, because I want to utilize all that lightning and stuff anyways. From that planet. But then... And Neptune, of course, is going to be like the primary, like the big space base kind of thing, is what I'm thinking. I have some really cool ideas for that. Because long term, the overworld. Oh. Oh, come on. Evolved gas boss. Yeah, I can't hit it. I actually gotta throw the fireballs back. This one actually takes a few hits to kill it. I hate these bosses where you just knock stuff back because they're really not challenging, like, at all. But they're very time consuming. Like, especially this one because it takes like a million hits to kill this thing. Oh wait, I can actually hit it. Oh, my bad. My bad. I had tried that and it didn't do anything. Hey, how did you even get in here? You're not supposed to be able to come into boss rooms. Did I get the key? Okay, there we go. About to say. And tier 6 treasure chest. Here we go. We got a tier 6 rocket schematic. Woot. Of course we did. Okay, so that's it. That's all we needed from Saturn. Let's go ahead and warp on back. I've got a lot of teleporters to set up between episodes. Like a bunch. Because we'll have Ceres, Jupiter, Saturn, and I guess we're going to go to the next one. We've got time, and my goal this episode was just to go through a few planets, get a few unlocked for us and everything. Now what I'm going to need to do is magnesium. Let me get a couple stacks of that. I'm fairly certain... Well, I don't know if we have enough palladium. I'm not for sure. Let me see, how many palladium... Oh, my palladium didn't come back into here. Because I think the storage bus, I'm pretty sure it's not on a higher priority, and that's the problem that we're encountering here. So let me get underneath this and fix that real quick. Okay, so magnesium. Let's go ahead and get some of this stuff running, making those magnesium plates for us. And then the compressed palladium. I'm going to need a bunch more. I've got carbon. Actually, I want to say I have more carbon. Yeah, see, I've got more carbon ingots in here. And compressed magnesium, I'm going to go ahead and put this into here. Now, compressed magnesium is something I'm definitely going to have to get automated. Because that way, I mean, we have plenty of that stuff, so. Okay, there's our very first tier 6 heavy-duty plates. We'll go ahead and throw those into there. Okay, and for this stuff, I'm pretty sure that all this stuff is fairly standard. The tier 6 rocket fins, yeah, it's just tier 6 plates. The tier 6 rocket engine, it's just that. The nose cones, I'm sure we're going to need the tier 6, that's standard. And then the boosters. Okay, those are standard too. Okay, so give me just a bit to get this rocket crafted up. And then I guess we'll head on to Uranus. And let's see, once we hit Uranus, what are we going to need? White gems. Is that really it? Wait a second. No, there's no way. Like for the tier 7, compressed crystal, takes crystal ingots. Okay. Block of crystal. That's why I couldn't find it. It's called crystal stone that we need. Oh, and we can actually make ultimate solar panels with those too. I'm going to have to go into the test world and see how much those actually generate. Those work during the day and night. Nice. Yeah, those things work during the day and night. That's awesome. And the hybrid takes the compressed magnesium. That's actually not expensive at all. Haha. Okay. Anyways, I'll be back in just a bit. Okay, that took a little bit longer than intended. I had to go actually get just a little bit of carbon. But I've got a bunch of magnesium running through. So we should be good on that stuff. moving forward. I also had to make the thermal padding. That's one reason I had to go get a bit more carbon. But this is, on the plus side, this is the final thermal padding. We throw this on, we're good. Okay? And this stuff's just standard to make. It's just compressed magnesium and then that tier 4 thermal cloth. It takes the tier 3. So, just expensive. It's not that bad to make it. So, okay. So, our tier 6 rocket, I should have everything on hand here to make that. And that. And there's our tier 6 rocket. And actually, I almost forgot. We should have a couple quests here. Yes. Iota. What's nice is this quest line here next episode. We're going to be doing a lot of that. Okay, so tier 5 rocket, reward bag, tier 6 rocket, reward bag. I'd like to finish up this whole page in the next couple episodes. Also, Epsilon, aside from maybe the Demon Steel, some of that stuff's a little bit steep, but the PRC, Pressurized Reaction Chamber, will probably, I don't know, how expensive is that? It's actually not expensive at all. I may actually end up making one of those just to do the quest. We don't need it right this second, but I mean, I guess we could if we wanted to get into lasers. Okay, we got a greater bag with fuel efficiency upgrade. Of course we did. And then an epic bag with an energetic flux battery. Whew. Whew, look out. Oh my gosh. Sometimes I wish they would have done like specific rewards. That's one thing, Craft of the Titans, I get more excited about completing quests than in this pack. In this pack, I'm just like, okay, that's progression right there. And I mean, some of the stuff in Craft of the Titans is pretty powerful. Especially some of the rune stuff, but that stuff all takes grinding, so. Okay. And we'll let this thing get filled up. I love this rocket. That is a beautiful rocket. And when we first get there, we are going to gun straight for... Oh, you know what I need to do? Before I forget, I need to put on my thermal stuff. But the first thing that we're going to go for is just getting some of those ores so that we have them. And then we can set up our digital miner to mine them for us. And I'm going to do the same thing with carbon. Between episodes, I'm going to get a lot of carbon. Because, honestly, I'm tired of not having carbon. What? I just had a quantum entangleporter, and now I don't. There we go. I want this. And go ahead and make me one more of those, so that we have it. And this should be... There we go. Seems like this one takes a lot to fuel up. Like maybe increased fuel load or something. Because normally, I mean, these didn't take all that long to load. I could make some better fuel loaders, but I really don't see the point in it. Like if we take a look here... Oops. What? There we go. Yeah, there's like the advanced fuel loader and the ultimate one. Really, I guess I could. That one's palladium. Ultimate is... zinc, tungsten, titanium. It's okay. We could just go straight to ultimate. None of that's even remotely expensive. I do notice this rocket travels a lot faster. Travels much faster. Okay, so we are headed for Uranus. And honestly, one reason I wanted to gun to Uranus, you know, because I know we're getting about wrapping up point. That's why I cut to make the rocket and stuff. One reason I want to get to Uranus is because I think this is where we're actually going to do our prison planet. Because Uranus is another planet that I absolutely love the way it looks. Uranus and Neptune are probably my two favorites. And so I'm thinking this planet would be cool to do our prison on. Or Pluto. Pluto would be kind of cool too, I guess. But the next objective is, honestly, it's power. It's going to be power next episode. For sure. Alright, so let's set up our quantum entangleporter. We're just going to put this right here. We're going to say this is mining power. Set it. Side config. Energy output on every side. Auto eject. We'll put down our teleporter here. We're going to say that this is the Uranus frequency. And then let me go ahead and get some conduits. I've already got item conduits on me. Let me get energy conduits. And now we need to go find some ore from this place. I actually love the stone in this place. I think it's a really good looking, like, building stone. Whoops. And I'm going to throw it actually into here. Because I don't have a drawer set up, I don't want to just dump it into my system. By the way, my system actually got backed up because I hadn't set all the stuff into the filters for, like, all the different armors and stuff. Like, mainly the leather. All the leather stuff wasn't set. And it was just kind of, like, backing up into my system. And I didn't notice it. And then I happened to look, and it was like, basically my system wouldn't accept any more items. Because all the all the storage drives were backed up with, like, different durability armor. So, crystal stone, there's one of those. Then we're also going to need some white gem. I'm not going to worry about mining that, honestly. John Cena! Gosh! Like the biggest explosion ever. Okay, we're looking for white stone. The worst thing is... There we go. White gem. Okay, now I just have to find my way back, and I'll tell you what, I'm just going to actually teleport to Uranus. There we go. Haha. Okay, so now what we'll do is we'll set up our digital miner. We'll put it like right here. Energy is on the side, so I'm just going to pump this over like that. Let's go ahead and set up the config. And we're going to say new filter, item stack, and you can get Uranus white gem. Fuzzy mode, no. Replace, no. There we go. And another new filter, item stack, crystal stone. Save. Okay. And inverse mode, that would be blacklist. We're not going to use that. We're going to say the radius. Okay, we're going to set all these to maximum. Radius 32, minimum 0, max 99. 255. There we go. Thought it went higher than that. Okay, and auto eject. We'll put that to on. Silk touch. It won't matter. Okay. And then what we'll do is we'll just set up our ender chest like right here. And we're going to go ahead and say start. And this should start getting... Yeah, I just saw some... it's probably crystal stone, honestly. Yeah, crystal stone, and then... It's actually finding more white gem than crystal stone. Okay. And I'm not for sure how we're going to go about processing this stuff. Crystal stone, I imagine it can be quintupled. It can. And I imagine the white gem is probably going to be ran through the crusher. Yeah. Okay. What do we use the white gem for? White gem wafers. That's it. And that is just used for that stuff. Yay. Okay. Alright. And let's see. We have 9 white gem. We have 9 crystal. Okay. Awesome. So now we can set out and look for the dungeon while that mines. Let me go ahead and throw down a chunk loader, actually. We'll just put this, like, right here. We're going to say that do 5 radius. That's fine. It's not like that stuff's really going to impact us all that much because there's, like, nothing happening here. You know, to cause it to really cause any kind of lag. Oh, is that a dungeon already? Awesome. Awesome stuff. I do plan on spending a bit of time on Uranus because I want these bricks. These dungeon bricks. From this dungeon, anyway. Dun, 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 dun. So many John Cena creepers today. No, stop it. I just wanna fly on through this. Oh, we haven't seen one of these in a very, very long time. I don't want any of that stuff, actually. John Cena. Alright, this is... This is how you dungeon right here. Hello. Oh, boss room. Evolved ice slime. Alright. Really, I mean, these bosses pose like no threat at all. I'm not even using a good sword. I just got really, really lazy. I was like, okay, it's a VCO sword, whatever. Like, I didn't even bother remaking our good Tinker's tools or anything like that. So, I mean, all they're really doing is bumping up difficulty at this point. The bosses themselves, no challenge. And you're dead. Like, you would think he'd, like, split off into, like, separate bits or something. No. Just easy boss fight. Okay. There's our chest. Dun, dun, dun. And we got our tier 7 rocket schematic. The rest of this stuff I'm really not terribly concerned with, but I'm just going to leave all that stuff alone. I don't even care. Alright. So let's go ahead and warp on back. And let's see, 41 crystal stone so far and 12 white stone. Okay. And see, what I can do is I can actually set this filter. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to have all the ores related to the planets. Aside from, I'm probably not going to worry about setting like dash or meteoric iron or, honestly, I probably won't set that ilmenite ore because really it makes titanium ingots. We have titanium. You know, there's really no point in worrying about that. Magnesium, I'm not going to worry about. Dash, meteoric iron, none of that stuff I'm terribly concerned with. But I am going to have it running, you know, everything else. I'm going to set it to carbon. I'm going to set it to red gem. I'm going to set it to all that different stuff. We can have that stuff being mined up. And then if I need something, I can just go to that planet, throw the miner down. There we go. You know. And honestly, I mean, this can run while I'm AFK. So probably by next episode, I'm hoping to have a bunch of carbon and stuff built up. Is kind of my goal. That's the plan anyways. And as of right now, Neptune's our next stop, then Pluto, and then Ceres. So, I mean, these three, not going to take that long, but these four especially, well, actually, I don't know. Jupiter is going to be power. Okay, let's quickly run down this. So Mercury is ore processing. Venus is nothing as of right now. There will be something on there. I'm just not for sure what I want to do there. Overworld, of course. And then the moon is basically just lasers and stuff like that. Space station is cobbleworks and launch area. Mars is mining. Asteroids is nothing as of right now. Ceres is nothing as of right now. Jupiter is power gen. Saturn is nothing as of right now. And all those as of right now, we'll end up putting something on there. I'm just not for sure what. And then Uranus, I think Uranus is going to be our prison for the mobs, like mob spawners and stuff like that. Because it's kind of like an icy prison. And I'm actually kind of excited about that because I want to do kind of like an ice style build. Where it's like prison cells frozen over is kind of what I'm thinking. Neptune will be our main base. Pluto and Ceres, I'm not for sure. One of those we'll probably do as our farming, off-world farming area. Because I want to do all the Pam's Harvest Craft trees and stuff like that. And so we are going to need some place to put those. And have them set up for mining and all that, so. I'm not for sure. I'm not for sure. So. Anyways, I know it's about wrapping up point, so I feel like we got a bit done. You know, we ran through 3 different planets. We got to play around with the digital miner and the astro miner. Astro miner being very short-lived. It's not all that useful. It doesn't mine a whole lot. It does mine fast. It just doesn't mine a whole lot. Digital miner, of course, being the step up. Both of those being very temporary things. Because once we get into RF tools dimensions, we'll just build dimensions. And then we'll just have an RF tools builder block. And we'll just have switches where we can toggle those on if we need the ore. Probably set it up in Mars. So we can go over to Mars and say, you know what, I need this ore. Pull that lever and it'll just start mining that dimension. And then pull the lever again to stop it. You know, and maybe even set it up to automatically keep so much on hand if we use some of that, have it mine up a little bit of that. But that's really down the line because we're going to need a lot of power to do that. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed it. Next episode, power will be our primary focus. I'm going to try to work on building out the power area between this episode and next, like the new space base for that. And so next episode, the primary objectives is going to be lightning rods to generate power from all that lightning power, all that electricity that's running through the air and lightning strikes everywhere. That would be a perfect place to have lightning rods set up. And then we're also going to do a bit with big reactors. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, as always, be sure and hit that like button and go ahead and subscribe if you're not already for more daily videos. And I hope to see you guys next time. So until then, as always, do take care, stay safe, and I'll see you then.